Welcome, everybody. I'm never fully prepared when I set the time and then I set the stupid little moving ticker to have me load up. So anyway, somebody let me know if my audio is working. I've done this before and don't get the audio right because I'm a dumb guy relative to tech, and I am a one-man band today. I am alone, other than my beautiful puppy, 10-year-old Popeye, who is away snoring in the corner. Anyway, there's really no specific. I saw some comments earlier about, is this about the indictments that are being dropped? We could certainly talk about that. I've got some links up to go over some of that, but I like these to really be free form. I like these to be you guys asking me to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about, getting your comments on the record. I've got the little software here to put, and my monitors aren't working, to put questions up on the screen, comments up on the screen to discuss. This isn't necessarily the most easy manner to do it because it is not true back and forth. There's like, I'm not having guests on, it's just reading comments, but it is what we have. And I appreciate you guys for joining me. So now that there's been enough time of me rambling and running my mouth to give people a chance to join us, let's begin. We'll start here with Manny Martinez. Hey, Jesse, do you know of that white supremacist group list will be released to the public? I don't know the underlying intelligence from the Department of Homeland Security. I'm assuming you're talking about this headline from The Guardian that I just dropped a video talking about. This was from the 28th. So this was 2 days ago. Revealed neo-Confederate group includes military officers and politicians. I don't know whether it has been released or will be released. I would have to dig a little deeper in it. I could certainly do a video about it, but I do know this, that a lot of times when the FBI, especially when Christopher Wray, who is still the FBI director, when he goes before Congress, when they're not in what's called executive session, which is a more of a secure, private, non-public presentation, he will give specific names. And sometimes it will be entered into the congressional record. Even if it doesn't get talked about in that moment, he will send supporting documentation that will get entered into the congressional record. So you might have to actually call your congressperson, your representative, maybe your senator to find out specifically. The comments are going by real quick, so we'll go with our fan favorite, Richard Andrew Swain, Sir Richard from Great Britain, from England. Mr. Dollemore, which of these battles has the most meaning for you? Tarawa, Saipan, Tinian, which I'm not familiar with, or Okinawa? Probably Okinawa, because it's the raising of the flag and the historic moment there. I did see someone saying that Cosby just left prison in a white SUV. I don't know about that because I haven't been reading about it. I didn't follow the trial too much, but the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has vacated the conviction of Bill Cosby, and he has been set free from prison. I did not follow the trial that closely. However, I did follow some of the details relative to some civil depositions he gave where he admitted to having drugged and had sex with women, which would just by virtue of that mean that it was not consensual. So I don't know enough about it to comment, but that is where we are. So real quickly, let's move very quickly. I want to talk about this. The indictments that are looking like they're going to be dropped tomorrow. New York prosecutors to indict Trump Organization insider, but not Trump, sources say. This is from, again, 2 days ago. New York prosecutors investigating former U.S. President Donald Trump's business practices are likely to issue one or more criminal indictments this week, but not against Trump himself, according to people involved in the case. Ronald Fischetti, an attorney representing Trump, said on Monday that based on discussions with prosecutors, he expects, quote unquote, no charges will be brought against Trump in the initial round of indictments. That language is important because it means there will be more rounds of indictments. And then in the initial round, it's not going to be Trump. Others familiar with the case say prosecutors are preparing criminal charges against Alan Weisselberg, longtime chief financial officer for the Trump organization, and also are considering criminal charges against the company. So that is in itself big news. Sorry, I'm trying to get my mouse back here since my monitors aren't aligned. That is big news. Here, a lot of people have been asking me questions about this, and here's my take on it. I'm not prognosticating here. It seems to make sense to me how this is working out. And that is the chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, who worked not only for Donald Trump, but Donald Trump's father for years and years in that capacity. He knows where the quote unquote bodies are buried financially. And what they're going to do here, they're going to indict probably the organization and like the article said, Alan Weisselberg himself in an attempt to get him to flip, to get him to testify in the case for a reduced, for a far diminished sentence. Now, Alan Weisselberg is an old man, older than Donald Trump, and I can't imagine he wants to spend his twilight years in a prison cell because out of some loyalty to turd Donald Trump. So this isn't moving as quickly as I think any of us would like, but I do see that there is going to be consequence, which I've been railing about for months now. There will be consequence for Donald Trump. It's just unfortunate that it's not going to be at the federal level yet. We'll see. And that it is only at the state and local level with Cy Vance, who is the Manhattan District Attorney, and Letitia James, who is the New York State Attorney General. That being said, there is a possibility that once charges drop, that once a case is outlined by the state of New York and the city of New York, that the federal government will be able to take that documentation and move it over to a federal case. Because if the case is about tax evasion, they're not going to prosecute federal tax evasion in the state of New York. They're going to prosecute state tax evasion. So that is something. Let me see here. Trying to catch the questions. I don't want to only answer super chat questions, but this one is a big one. So let's answer this one. Peter Hamby. First off, the drink in my pick is a Colorado Bulldog, as you complimented. I have a Bulldog too. It's not a drink. That would be gross. Second, GOP attacking Gwen Berry is not only something that needs to get hammer thrown, but how ironic they're mixing politics and sports from Kaepernick to now Berry. Yeah, listen, again, these are items that we do need to dedicate time to, because we need to always be calling out the Republican Party and conservatives, Republicans, the GOP, just as a loose group, out on their nonsense. And culture war nonsense is just that. They claim to support the troops. They claim to support the flag, yet they wear it as bathing suits. They print it on clothes, which is all against the flag code. Especially this, though. They want to talk about cancel culture, and they want to talk about the First Amendment, about our right to free speech. Well, what she is doing is exactly that. It is peaceful, silent protest in an effort to make the country better. If she hated the country, she wouldn't care to make a statement. But it is through protest that we make the country better. It is through protest that we advance ourselves toward progress and toward the aspirational goals that we've set for ourselves relative to equality for all. So I don't understand. I never will understand. Even when I was a Republican, I didn't understand this knee-jerk, patriot idea about outlawing flag burning. It is clearly, there's not even an argument that it is absolutely free expression. You might not like it, but there's all kinds of shit that I don't like that people have a right to do. And this is one of those things. Great question. And it's something that should be on everybody's lips, especially this coming Olympic season, because it looks like the Olympics are taking place, although in some diminished capacity in Tokyo. Thank you, Peter Hamby. Fantastic super chat. Humbling. I appreciate it very much. Tim A. My prediction. This is Tim A's prediction. I'm imitating Tim A. Trump will never go to jail. I kind of have that feeling too, but I have been accused on many occasions of being an optimist. And this is one of those cases that I don't think I'm going to manifest him going to jail by believing it's going to happen and saying that it's going to happen. But I'm holding out hope that there are some prosecutors, some people in power who will hold him to account because, and again, it's repeat day. I'm just going to repeat a bunch of shit that I've said over the course of the last several months. If we cannot hold those accountable who have power and abuse their power, and only those who are out of power, what kind of country are we? What kind of values do we hold to? And Donald Trump, above anyone else, did some rotten criminal stuff in an effort to extricate himself from trouble and to maintain power. Moving down the line here, they go very quickly. If I miss a question, I'm very sorry. This is a great point. I'm going to totally botch the name. Amidard. Every fascist in history has claimed to be a patriot while going about destroying their country's political infrastructure. This is true. This is a fact. This goes from Mussolini to Hitler. It is something that we're witnessing while they're out of power, though, that they are continuing to chip away at the democratic norms that we've enjoyed for a couple hundred years. They are disregarding any value of democracy. They are pushing us toward an autocratic system of rule where it doesn't matter how they maintain power, how they continue to have power, as long as they have power. They don't care if it's through fraud. They don't care if it's through lies. They don't care if it's through coup and insurrection. They want power. Democratic rule and self-governance is not important to Republicans. Clearly, it is not when they're trying to box out massive swaths of the electorate from having the same access to the franchise as white people. And, we witness it every night on Tucker Carlson's show. So I agree. It is a problem. Now, let me try to find the question to click it off the screen. Sorry if I screwed up your name. Gatman 92. Jesse, I am an Air Force military police, and some coworkers have some concerning opinions that seem based in white supremacy and racism. Excuse me. How do I approach them with a way to help them understand my Black experience? I am the wrong guy to answer that question. I don't have patience I have the luxury and the privilege to not abide racism or racists in my life at all. I'm in a unique situation where I work from home. When I venture out, I can choose who I'm around. And especially if you're in the military, you don't have that luxury. So I would say get along as best you can and give them glimpses into some of the things that have happened to you in your life, and try to get them to see, what would have gone down with you. Would that have been the case? People who are racists, people who believe in conspiracy theories, people who are white supremacist or white nationalist, their views aren't based in reality, though. So it's not going to be an easy outcome. It's going to be a trickle down. I don't often quote the Bible, but the mustard seed thing, if you plant the seed, maybe someone down the line will be able to harvest that crop that you planted. because it's not going to be an overnight thing. So good luck. I don't envy you. Further, we have a problem in military ranks relative to. Here, I'll go back to the question. Further, we have a problem relative to in our military ranks with extremism. These people who claim to be 3%ers, who are anti-government, who are militia people, but who have entrenched themselves again. This headline from The Guardian is the neo-Confederate groups, including military officers and politicians, infiltrating these levels of government. It's a problem, and we need to root them out, because it shouldn't be looked upon as just another political view. It is absolutely pernicious and dangerous and anti-American, anti-democratic. There is no space for it. It's anti-U.S. Constitution, which, when you join the military, you swear to uphold and to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Looking for other questions here. I'm not just falling asleep. Yeah, Heather, trailer, this is a good point, that it does give me pause. But the crimes of Donald Trump were on a different brazen scale than other terrible presidents who committed atrocities, like George W. Bush. I'm one that didn't used to believe that it went to that level, that you say he committed war crimes. Nothing happened to Trump, just like nothing happened to Bush when he committed war crimes. We never hold our past presidents accountable. This is why they get worse and worse every time. Now, there is some validity to that. I think that if Congress doesn't act, and I've criticized Nancy Pelosi in recent days, that she had to be pressured into impeaching Donald Trump, which was a consequence. He will never be able to get that off his record, so to speak. But when Congress doesn't wield the power that they're granted by the Constitution to hold the executive branch accountable, this is what we get. Ever since Nixon, the power of the executive branch has just grown and ballooned and fattened and swelled to the point of what it is now. And then even now, when Democrats get in office, what is Joe Biden doing? Not wielding that same bloated power of the executive branch. It is a bummer. However, the judiciary is a different element. It's a different animal altogether. That is Article 3 of the Constitution, the judicial branch of government. And that independent branch, may be able to hold Donald Trump accountable through prosecution, indictment, sitting grand juries investigating, subpoenaing documents. Let's hold out a little bit of hope. A little bit. David Mesa. Mr. Jesse, our democracy is in danger of falling in 2022 by Republicans and QAnons. I never thought that a wild, nutty, absolutely insane, batshit crazy conspiracy theory group could wield as much political influence in this country as they do. And their numbers aren't massive. To the true blue believers, or true red believers, I should say. But they have been able to, many of them ran for Congress this last term. Only 2 of them got elected, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. So we should hold out some hope, but we can't stop being vigilant to hold them accountable and point out who they are at every turn. So, but they are definitely a threat to our democracy. Now I'm looking for the question we'll just move off that one. Here we go. Skylark. Sorry, I know your Twitter name, and that's hi Jesse, lots of love to you and Brittany from Denmark. P.S. Just can't get over the fact that Cosby has been released. Like I said, I don't know. I've talked a lot about it on the podcast. It did seem he was guilty. I don't know the reasoning or the underlying motivations of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. I'm going to have to, once this is over in 30 minutes or so, kind of read what's going on and what their justification was. But I do know that there were civil depositions given. I'm going to repeat myself from just a few minutes ago. Civil depositions were given by Bill Cosby where he did admit to drugging and then having sex with the drugged women, which in and of itself indicates that there was no consent, which to extend that out is rape. So thank you for the super chat. Fantastic. You guys are awesome. I am a lucky, unworthy man. This is Laura McMullen. What do you think about the South Dakota governor sending National Guard to the border paid for by a private entity? I did read about this story. I don't know the full details, but there is some billionaire, Dakota National Guard. Let's take a look. All right. Let's go back to a share screen, huh? Look at this. What a great setup. South Dakota governor sending National Guard to Mexico border on mission funded by GOP mega donor. Kristen Noem is her name. South Dakota Governor Kristi L. Noem will deploy up to 50 National Guard troops to the southern U.S. border, her office said Tuesday, with a highly unusual caveat. The mission will be funded by a quote-unquote private donation from an out-of-state GOP mega donor billionaire. The Guard members will deploy in response to Texas Governor Greg Abbott's plea to augment border security with law enforcement resources from other states, Noem's office said in a statement. Like Abbott, who is a Republican, Noem is a close ally of former Republican Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, whose focus on illegal immigration spurred his, anyway, everybody knows the rest of that. So, listen, this again is the Republican Party's reliance on billionaires and outside private money to do their bidding. Sending 50 National Guards personnel to the border is nothing but a publicity stunt. It is because she has further aspiration, because 50 people on the scope of the entire United States southern border is, can I make the sound? A drop in the bucket is nothing. And she has her sights on future office, whether that be running for president herself or possibly, I guess, maybe the Senate. But I think it's more likely that she has her eyes set on an office like the vice presidency. If Donald Trump were to run again, he's certainly not going to pick Mike Pence. Or if Ron DeSantis, the helmet-haired freak from Florida, if he were to run for office and pick her as his Sarah Palin, she would fit the bill immediately and fully relative to what they're looking for. Here, I'll get this article off the screen. What they're looking for a running mate. She has the same nutty political ads where she's firing guns for no reason whatsoever other than to signal to her electorate that she's a gun nut. So I don't think it's not going to make a difference, and it doesn't matter. It is political posturing. That's what I think, Laura. I guess I could have just said that. Here's one. I saw Tucker's name. We'll just put it up. Anthony Marine isn't presenting Tucker Carlson as a news host and framing his show like it's a news source, despite them claiming its opinion not to be taken seriously, just false advertising. And isn't that illegal? No, it is not, because in an entertainment show, he can say whatever he wants. If SNL decided to call themselves a hard-hitting news show, it's very apparent that it's satire. It's very apparent that it's parody. It's very obvious that it's not that. So they would be covered under free speech law. Listen, we do indeed have a long tradition of free speech and the protection of such under the Constitution in this country. We fail once in a while, but for the most part, we're in tune to it. Tucker does have the freedom of speech. I want to walk very carefully here, but he does not have the freedom of speech to incite violence, and that is exactly what he's doing now. He is whipping into a frenzy, hoping to leave himself some plausible deniability after the fact that I didn't directly incite people to go do something. It's not on me, that they decided as autonomous adults to do what they wanted to do. But that would be wrong. That would be immoral and unethical on his part, because of we witnessed what has happened with Donald Trump. How many people cited Donald Trump or Donald Trump's policies, the MAGA bomber? I mean, just because he was too stupid to make a pipe bomb that actually worked, had he had any technical explosive proficiency, there would have been dead journalists all over the country, because he sent bombs to targets of Donald Trump. If you looked at those pictures of his van, it was scary. And Tucker Carlson is taking a page out of the Donald Trump playbook and doing the exact same thing on a night after night after night basis. When you have the former Grand Wizard of the KKK, David Duke, when you have Richard Spencer, the Nazi face seen punched around the world, advocating for the message that Tucker Carlson is spewing on a nightly basis, we have a problem in this country. We have a problem in this country because Tucker's program, I've said it before, but it bears repeating, is not just a pretty successful program on Fox News. It's not just a kind of watched show on cable news. His program in that time slot, not even in that time slot, for Fox News, it's the most popular show in the history of Fox News entertainment. It's way more popular than Hannity ever it was. Far more watched, better ratings than Bill O'Reilly ever could have dreamed of. Millions of people tune in every night to listen to polished white supremacist propaganda, talking about the white genocide conspiracy theory, the white replacement, the great replacement conspiracy theory, saying that immigrants make our country poorer and dirtier, that diversity isn't our strength, that being all the same white is what makes us strong. Yearning for a time when there was segregation in this country. That when they talk about make America great again, those are the years that they hearken back to: the 50s, the 40s, the post-World War II years, when Black veterans returning from valiant combat were not given the same benefits that were earned by them as their white counterparts. Low interest loans. Look up Levittown and segregation. I mean, it is disgusting what we've done. And that is what Tucker Carlson and his ilk are doing. You've read articles. I'm rambling now, but you've read articles about the radicalization of the boomers by Fox News. That people who voted for Obama, maybe even twice, have been watching Fox News, and they're being radicalized to believe wild and insane conspiracy theories, among them this white supremacist bullshit. Anyway, it is indeed dangerous, but there's weird legal ground there to actually bring a case against him, because we do try to really adhere and hold sacred the First Amendment, that Congress shall make no law. Jan Zimney, why can't Biden go on a national security TV spot to tell the truth about Trump's bullshit and tell the American public that he has the Republicans conned and the American people? That he and the Republicans conned the American people. I don't know what good it would do. It would just look like naked partisanship. I think Biden is taking a play from Obama, which Obama, while in office, never really came right out and said, look, the Tea Party and the adherents of the Tea Party are racist and they're being racist toward me. He never did that. he wanted to take the high road. I've listened to recent interviews with him. If you listen to The Daily, it's a podcast by the New York Times. There's an episode that Obama talked to Ezra Klein, who used to roll with Vox. Apparently, he's now working for the New York Times. And Obama said it very plainly that, he didn't think that would not just work, but it wouldn't be an effective messaging tool. So he wanted to take the high road. And I think Biden's doing the same thing. And I don't know. I think he needs to be more direct. I think that these elder statesmen, Biden being one of them, put a lot of stock into bipartisanship, but the days of bipartisanship are over. We've learned that with Republicans. When Joe Manchin is denying voting rights because he doesn't like H.R. 1, the For the People Act, and then he shuffles around like a whipped dog to the Republicans to try to get them on board to his compromise bill, and then 0 Republicans come up. They don't care. Republicans do not care about actual governance. They only care about scoring political points. That is the fact as I see it. A lot of questions. I'm trying to get to them, you guys. Sorry. The small farmer life. Do you think Tucker could run for president and attract Trump's base to vote for him? If so, do you think he could win? The answer to that is yes. And yes, I think it's more unlikely that he would run because he makes a lot of money working for Fox. But he certainly, if he had the motivation to do so, he could. And I think the way the electoral map looks now, he absolutely could. And it would be scary because he is smarter than Trump and understands messaging probably a little better and also understands the Constitution and government quite a bit more. Doesn't take much to be smarter than Donald Trump on that field. It would be very scary. Yeah. Gary Jones, a question from a United Kingdom follower. Could the filibuster be, quote unquote, suspended for a period of, say, 6 months to ensure voting rights bill can get through? This may be around Manchin cinema. It could not be suspended without a vote from the Senate, because to change rules in the Senate, you need the majority cannot run roughshod over the minority in the Senate the way it's set up. That's the way it works in the House. That the majority they can call a vote whenever they want. There is no limit to debate. None of that exists. It is set up to be a far more democratic body that way. Not in the Senate. They have an odd devotion to arcane tradition in the Senate that maybe used to serve it well, and in some way possibly serve the country well. I really can't think of anything now. It seems to have only upheld, Jim Crow and segregation and racism. So yeah, its time has come, and we need people out. I mean, we are lucky that Arizona elected Sinema for a number of reasons, because what would be in her place would be a catastrophe, to put it mildly. But we need a new group of Democrats to be elected, people who aren't so beholden to odd rules like the Senate has. Don't give Tucker any ideas, says Sally Mann Cox. Yeah, I agree. Although I'm sure he's not going to hear it on a YouTube video and be like, "Oh, that's actually a good idea." I'm sure there's people who have hit him up. Becky Dawes. Why can't the DOJ get it together enough to prosecute Donald Trump? Yeah, listen, I don't know. I'm very, very disappointed in Merrick Garland for a number of different reasons, but that being chief among them. There doesn't seem to be a grand jury impaneled to investigate what went on. We can't just leave it to inspectors general in the various executive branch departments to investigate what went down in their departments. We need a the select committee that Nancy Pelosi finally named in the House of Representatives to look into January 6th. That's a good start, but that's going to prolong forwarding any findings to the Justice Department. We need a grand jury with subpoena power to go after documents to find out about some of the damage that was done during the Trump administration. Now, some of that is going to be intelligence related, so we will need the inspectors general of, the NSA and the DIA and the CIA, the main 17 facets of intelligence outfits within the infrastructure of the United States intelligence gathering services. But the Justice Department needs to seek justice. It needs to do its job. It needs to look at the placard when they walk in the door and see what it is that they are dedicated to. And I think they're failing greatly right now. So I'm with you, Becky. I ask that question every day. Do you think that 2024 election day will become a national holiday? I know that there's a push in certain. I'm certainly for it, but I don't see that it's going to happen until Senate rules change. Because, and also, listen, it wouldn't, for a lot of people, that's not going to help. A lot of people who are working class people, just because there's a federal holiday, unless you work at a bank, you work retail, you're still working. I mean, you get Christmas off, you might get Easter off, but you're working 4th of July, you're working, Flag Day, President's Day, Veterans Day, all these federal holidays. You're still working when you work retail and more lower wage jobs. And it is the working class mobilizing that's going to change the face of our elected representation in Congress in this country. And while it's a good idea, it will go somewhere to help. It's not going to solve the problem on its face. So I'm with you. But also Republicans are absolutely opposed to it because it just increases the number of people who vote. And traditionally, the more people who vote, Democrats, they end up coming out on top because it is more representative of what the country looks like. And that's completely anathema to Republicans who only want a certain slice of America to have full access to the franchise. One more from Sally. Jesse, how's your daughter doing? I have stage 4 cancer, 5 years in remission. Hope she is well. Well, I hope you're well. It's good that you're in remission. That's fantastic. My daughter is healthy. She's this is a picture back here. People think that that's Farron Cousins, I think, another YouTube politics guy. That is not. That is my bald chemotherapy daughter and my shaved head in solidarity with her. She has her hair. It's growing back. She's very healthy and doing well. And fantastic. Thank you for the question. I will let her know that there are many people out there in YouTube land who are rooting for her. Here's kind of a local question. My pug's dad asks, what do you think of this damn recall here in California? To me, it's just a Republican plot to take back California. Your thoughts? It's absolutely what it is. However, I don't want to talk too whatever. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I don't like Gavin Newsom. I think he's terrible. I think he's a hypocrite. I think that when he gives stay-at-home orders and then is caught going out to the French Laundry with his family in an unmasked dinner, like a large extended group that aren't his household, that's a problem. And hypocrisy for me, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, is a problem. So I probably won't vote to recall him because of the risk of having some nutbag Republican in there. But I think that Gavin Newsom is terrible. Gavin Newsom, the former husband of Kimberly Guilfoyle, current girlfriend of Donald Trump Jr. Maybe he shouldn't be governor just because of his taste in ladies. Let Let me see. The questions jumped. I was going to put up a question for Mr. Anderson, who's a name I see around a lot. And now I can't find it. And yeah, listen, I don't know which troll you're referring to in the comments, but completely ignore them. There is no need to feed the trolls. And since I'm one man band here, I can't boot them or whatever else. Although if I could see, oh, here we go. No, let's give the trolls a little bit of airtime. Cash flow. January 6th was set up by Democrats. There's not a link to an article or any evidence presented. We all witnessed January 6th, dingus. We saw the Camp Auschwitz shirts. We've seen the indictments roll in. 400 plus arrests of people who have a history of posting on social media, whether it be Parler or any of these other idiotic social media outlets. We've seen their history. All of it has been entered into the record. It will be included in the indictments that are brought. It wasn't set up by Democrats. God damn. I mean, listen, it takes all kinds of morons to run the world, to be involved. You know, a little cash flow just wanted to say. So that's good for him. I don't know if this is a question for a previous comment. Jarhead 0311, basic rifleman, military occupational specialty in the Marine Corps. How does flying a Confederate battle flag, say patriotism? My whole family is from the South, and our flag is the American flag. It does not. It is the flag of treason. It is the flag of traitorous cowards to the Union, to our republic. There is no patriotism. That is why the House voting to remove all relics of Confederate lore from the Capitol is a good thing. We don't have statues to the generals and the admirals who led the attack on Pearl Harbor in the Capitol because they were the enemy. Why would we have Confederate soldiers, Confederate generals, Confederate memorabilia in the Capitol? Capitol is not a museum. It is there to honor individuals in our history. My throat is getting real trashed as I keep drinking from my way too cold water, which, by the way, if you host a podcast or you talk for a living, cold water is not what you do. I should have poured lukewarm water in there. Here's one. Ed Green. Jesse, as a Florida resident, I've given up hopes on the state flipping from red to blue, especially with the recent voting restriction laws. You think Florida voters will ever smarten up and vote guys like Gates out? Well, speaking from a congressional standpoint, I do have hope. However, it's going to be harder because the way congressional districts are drawn, they're kind of tailor-made for that particular party. And Matt Gaetz also, just like the Trumps to a lesser degree, but just like the Trumps, especially in Florida, has a name built for himself. His father was the president of the Senate. He was a lifelong politician and a businessman and a millionaire. Gaetz is a do-nothing, know-nothing clown who has only benefited from the hard work or luck of his father, and he is being rewarded for that. It seems as though some of that support is chipping away, and that will be certainly chipped away once he is outed fully and indicted for child sex trafficking at the federal level. But we'll see. He is certainly no prize, no gem. Couple more questions, and then I'm going to have to stop with the talking into the microphone. I like this. Yes, Mark, the Confederate flag is the loser flag. Without a doubt. Tea with honey. I'm not a tea guy. Jason Kelly says correctly that the Marine Corps banned all Confederate flags from all Marine bases. Having a tattoo of that flag can be reasons for not being allowed to re-enlist. Yeah, and you know what? Good. And also, Jason Kelly has clearly some understanding of the Marine Corps because he's capitalizing the word Marine, which is how it's done officially in Marine correspondence. It is capitalized. Not in regular basic grammar, though. New comments. Oh, there's a whole button down here. And Michael Miller, I think this is going to be the last question, unless one comes up below it, that we need to discuss the GOP electoral college advantage they have in 2024, which we are not talking about. That's a little far out for me. I haven't really analyzed it, but there is an advantage, certainly, depending on which election cycle, where we land. If you're talking about the presidential election, there's absolutely an advantage for Republicans because your less populated states have a lot greater electoral power because we don't go off a popular vote. For instance, I live in California now, but I'm originally from Idaho, which has like 1.5 million people or something, very small population, and has 4 electoral votes, where California, ratioistically, is that a word? By ratio, has 64 electoral votes or something, and tens of millions of people. It's an outsized influence on the election. And listen, it may never happen, or maybe it'll take 20 or 50 years, but we need to abolish the Electoral College. One person, one vote doesn't dilute the vote of California because Idaho and Wyoming don't have any people in them. So we'll end it with this. Myers Rapa, has Tucker gotten back to you? Are you up to Tucker and Gates tag team? I'll fight both those fuckers at one time. Even though Tucker's losing weight, he's not as much of a doughboy anymore. Yeah, absolutely. I'd take both those punks on in the ring. Charity for charity. Even if I got my ass kicked, we might support charity. But no, he has not gotten back to me. He is not going to get back to me. He is a little whimpering coward, a sniveling tool, and that is what it's going to have to be left at. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate the time that you spend with me. I appreciate the comments. It is nice to have a support network out there. And thank you very much. I might take tomorrow off. I don't know. We're going to have to see how I feel. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. Be genuine and take care of one another.